at Observe. It was an unexpected and self-actualizing moment for me upon first listening to a song called Circus. It resonated with me like gospel. I am an observer through and through. It's hard for me to relate when people say things like, I know nothing about pop culture, I'm not on social media, or perhaps the only friendship potential litmus test more effective than someone asking me to run a 5K during the early 2010s themed race boom, I don't own a TV. I put these people in the category of entertainer and not observer because it means they have the remarkable ability to entertain themselves without entertainment, absolving them of the desire to watch what other people are doing. I am not this person. Brittany follows up in Circus with how she's a put-on-a-show kind of girl, and I am too, but more like a put-on-a-TV show kind of girl, who feels more defined by my role as a devoted audience member rather than a performer. I like to quote this scripture when I'm being introduced to people in an entertainment medium because long before my career started, I was deeply committed to consuming entertainment and being entertained by the world around me, supplementing my lack of lived experience with what I could observe about other people's lives. It's vulnerable for me to open up these observations to the world because I think of myself as an Erica Jane on opposite day, meaning if somebody asked me, how many Fs do I give? The answer would be all of them. About everything. Ever. All of the time. Friendship, feelings, fandoms, fitting in, feminism. In my bones, I don't know how to not care the most. This book is my big reveal to those involved in eras of my life when I self-identified as chill, a no-big-deal kind of gal after I saw Kate Bosworth in Blue Crush or Kate Hudson in Almost Famous, and devoted my life to appearing breezy. I'd scrunch my hair, say I loved rock and roll, and sit in basements with boys playing in jam bands, secretly wishing I was listening to fewer instruments and more lyrics, noting the room would be much more inviting with lamp lighting and fewer wall tapestries. I'm with the band, I'd swear as I swung my Vera Bradley bag over my shoulder, because nothing gives a groupie an edge quite like mature floral quilting. But I knew that eventually the heart and purse I wore on my sleeve would reveal otherwise, or maybe a statement necklace would state my truth. I was, and always have been, with the bandwagon. Most of my childhood was unplugged, but I made my first online profile around age 10, and social media introduced me to a whole new layer of information gathering, cultural celebration, and inevitable comparison. Suddenly, I was able to obsess over popular culture and also popular girls, from stars who were just like us in Us Weekly to the hometown stars I wanted to be just like, fantasizing that my cool new friend would say cute friendisms like, I love Us Weekly. In the early days of AOL and MySpace, having visibility into the personal lives of popular girls after school hours was an ideal way to perform some light discovery on how to infuse my personal brand with more desirable attributes. I cared less about grades and class rank than how I could acquire the subjective glamour that made me eligible for a far more prestigious formal ranking system, the MySpace top 8 of upper-class women who embodied coolness at a Celica and cellular level. So I'd study group dynamics with the same level of vigor at school, the mall, in youth groups, or online, developing a passion for the millennial girl zeitgeist that I've carried throughout my life and into my career, with my current full-time job as host of my podcast of 6 years, Be There in 5. For most of my early life, I felt like an amalgam of the people, pop culture, and zeitgeist around me, foregoing the discomfort of forging my own identity and instead burying it in other people's whose coolness had already been pre-approved by society. I would take cues from popular media and popular kids in school to curate a version of me that was not defined by what I liked, but by finding ways to get people to like me. I know that sounds sad, but to me it was an exercise in resourcefulness. I would grow to like these things too, and still do. I assume I wanted to ease my self-consciousness in the trenches of adolescent insecurity, hoping to grab onto the J.Crew peacoat tales of something someone else said was socially acceptable, so I could move through the world a little more smoothly. It's hard to explain, but for an observer and somewhat malleable person, acquiring social capital can become a hobbyist venture that you genuinely enjoy. I think a lot of us now look back and cringe about many of the things we did to fit in, forgetting we grew up during a time when it seemed like avoiding being unique at all costs was the right thing to do. Though to be clear, it cost me a lot. I'm pretty sure I had my net worth tied up in a New York & Company credit card at one point, and I definitely spent a month's hostess earnings on a North Face Denali as an investment piece. But I blame spending K-12 learning about things like SOHCAHTOA instead of personal finances. If we really want to play financially doomed millennial bingo, I also have had a suburban tanning salon send a collections agency after me and have been tricked into signing up for a credit card not once, but twice at football games because it seemed reasonable to exchange the potential identity theft for a pilled fleece blanket or a free mouse pad. This advertising tactic on college campuses was so predatory it's now illegal, but credit card companies...